This week, we check in on the Newmar VIN fiasco. We're going to talk about new emerging road technologies and a hidden gem of a place in eastern Iowa that we think you really ought to check out. This is RV Miles. Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around. You'll find them on highways and campgrounds and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. From award-winning tow bars and base plates to a full line of weight distribution hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and now they have fifth wheel hitches too. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. Visit blueox.com for more information. Ever feel like finding the right RV part is like searching for a needle in a haystack? Enter eTrailer.com. Whether you're puzzled about which product is right for you or how to install it, eTrailer has got you covered. Their US-based customer service is available by chat or phone 7 days a week, and with expert Q&As, helpful articles, and tons of reviews and install videos, you'll tackle any RV problem with confidence. eTrailer strives to get their hands on everything they sell, and their website is full of overviews, reviews, buying guides, and tutorials. And it's not just RV parts, it's towing and vehicle accessories, camping supplies, and more. Head to the link in the description and get free shipping on orders over $99. Welcome to episode number 381 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby. And we are two RVers who, along with our three boys, have been crisscrossing all over North America on one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to travel destinations, our national parks, and so much more.
We're finally getting like mildly fall weather around here. We're coming to you from the Mile Zero studio. We're back here in Rock Island, Illinois, and we're getting highs of 68 degrees now, which feels like September weather, not October weather, but it is at least getting long sleeve-ish.
Shacket weather. I have broken out the flannel jackets. It is shacket weather.
You know, a lot of campgrounds around here either closed October 1st or they close October 15th. And sometimes not till October 30th, but usually October is when most of the campgrounds in this region start to close because they have to shut down their water systems. And we have not been close to having freezing water yet.
No. Typically, the last couple of winters, we've really not seen close to freezing or what would constitute even, concern at campgrounds until late November. I mean, technically winter isn't until December.
It's true.
If you go by the actual seasonal calendar. So I wish they stayed open longer. They don't. Everybody wants to shut down before the holiday season and get that all taken care of. I get it. But we really aren't. We have no freezing weather anywhere on the horizon. I mean, we're going camping next weekend and we will have zero concern while we're out.
It will probably be our last camping trip of the season.
Yes.
I think.
Not because we don't want to, but it gets a little bit harder. And then, again, the holidays are coming and it just gets really, really busy on the weekends.
It's also going to be, we did that episode recently talking about sort of fall maintenance, and it's going to be the camping trip where we do a little bit of that fall maintenance, and then we're also going to sort of sanitize the water and winterize. I'm going to try to do videos about those two things as well. So, but I am excited about getting out one more time in hopefully some cooler weather, because it's been hot every time we've camped recently.
We've literally had to use the air conditioner every time we have camped so far. But we're only going about an hour from the house. And the whole plan is that we're going for the weekend, but then the kids and I have to come home on Sunday because everybody has school on Monday. But you're going to stay for a couple more days at the campground. You're actually going to stay until Wednesday. You're going to do the news video from the campground. You're going to do what you just talked about, sanitize the water and winterize. You're going to do all of that there. And then when you come home on Wednesday, we'll just put the rig right into storage. And that will be it, probably until we see it again in March, which sounds really sad to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. We might have to find a way to go camping in November.
Yeah, we might.
I don't
I
know
mean,
that
I
I
don't-
can be out of the rig until March.
Look, winterizing is easy. I'm happy to de-winterize
I know you are.
if need be. So we can definitely consider that,
Yeah,
and
we'll
we
see.
should.
We'll see.
We should.
We will.
So in this episode that we're going to talk about, we are excited about doing more exploring in our area. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the town of Maquoketa, Iowa, and some of the surrounding things to do in that area. There's great Maquoketa Caves State Park is known nationwide, and we've visited there a couple times. This is our first time camping there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a lot to talk about that area. But wanted to start with talking about what's going on with this whole Newmar VIN fiasco thing. So, I did a news video, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was my first chance to really talk about this. And I said in the video, I hadn't done a ton of research on this, but this does seem a little odd to me. And I explained why. And some people got mad that I said things without doing research. But the more research I've done since then, the more I agree with myself. So I guess it's good. So if you're not familiar with what's going on here, there's this Canadian couple that they still own, though it's not in their possession anymore. They own a Newmar King Air, and they were trying to sell it in the U.S. So they had a buyer, and they were trying to bring it into the U.S. to sell it.
So they're Canadian.
They're Canadian. Okay. And, it's Newmar is, of course, manufactured in the U.S. So they get to the border, and, customs has, it's a different process when you're bringing something into the States to sell as it is if you were just traveling, right? Mm-hmm. So they do a VIN inspection. I'm not going to say VIN number for the person that got mad at me for saying redundantly VIN number, because VIN stands for vehicle identification number.
I knew that was going to dig in your side.
You can't say ATM machine because it's already baked in. Automated teller machine.
Those are VIN number. I'm going to say, whatever. I'm saying VIN number. I'll just give you a warning right now. It's probably going to come out of my mouth.
So the customs inspector is not happy with the VIN and its placement on this Newmar vehicle, doesn't think it's legal, and tells this couple that they can't import this and this vehicle cannot be brought into the U.S. They then try again. And this is where I didn't talk about this in that video because I was just sort of short-term going on. I think, spoiler alert, is just an overreaction by the U.S. Customs folks. But so this couple worked with an importer-exporter company that helped arrange the sale and do all the paperwork and all that sort of stuff. And these folks told them, well, maybe you should just take it in at another border crossing. We've never had a problem with this before, and you'll just get a better agent and it'll be fine. Well, that's when all heck broke loose, because they're already in the system, right? They think they're going to get to this other border crossing and that nobody's going to know anything about them. But this is already built into the system, and they pop up, and the motorhome gets seized. It's $1 million motorhome gets seized, and they're allowed to keep their towed vehicle, thankfully, because that allowed them to get back home. So they go back home, and then they get a fine from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol for $600,000. For attempting to bring a non-conforming vehicle into the United States. So, in the meantime, they're talking with Newmar to try to get help on this. And Newmar's like, we don't understand. This is all normal and fine.
They're like, we don't speak Canadian. Sorry, we can't help you.
So what has come from this is just a storm of a whole lot of YouTube videos, a whole lot of commenters on social sites and stuff talking about this scenario, and a lot of experts that think they know what a VIN is supposed to look like and what the rules are. And it turns out, if you read the actual rules, it's not that clear, first of all, but also what Newmar had seems to be totally legal. So a lot of us would think that the VIN would have to be like etched on the chassis, that there have to be like riveted plates on, and some vehicles have that. But the law says that labels are fine. And a lot of RV industry acts that way. So I'm pretty sure that our trailers, every trailer that we've owned, just has the VIN on a label on the outside.
Yeah.
Maybe it's stamped somewhere on the chassis. I don't think so. And that label or plate, it says label or plate in the law, needs to be affixed to a part that is not meant to be removed. It can be a part that can be removed for service or whatever, but it needs to be fixed to a part that can't be removed. So Newmar has their official legal VIN behind the driver's seat on a column it's a printed label like most RVs have that's stuck to the wall. And a lot of people argue that, well, that's easily removable. Well, okay, I think all VINs are pretty easily removable, but the rule is more about, from my reading of it, that label or plate being destroyed if you try to remove it. The point being, if you remove it, you can't affix it to another vehicle. So you think about a vehicle that goes into a chop shop or something like that. A stolen vehicle gets chopped up, and then they reuse the VIN, and that's how you could, theoretically, legally sell another vehicle. That those official VIN numbers are supposed to come apart. So some people argue, well, it's just a piece of paper. It's like, because it is something that they yell in the comments at me a lot, that it's, just something they printed out on an inkjet and stick to the wall. Well, this is how they've done it for 50 years. And you can't say at the same time, and the law does say this, so part of it's the law's issue, but you can't say at the same time that it needs to be indelible, meaning, of course, we got to use a word that people don't have an exact definition of, but the word indelible is in the law, which is supposed to mean either non-removable or unforgettable. So, but it also has to be destructible if you do try to remove it. So if you think about something that's removable, like that's not supposed to be removed, once you try to remove it, if it destroys itself, that should follow the law there. And that's what Newmar says is the situation here. So Newmar was talking with this person and helping them. And then this person said that Newmar stopped helping them and started ignoring them.
Newmar's ghosting them?
And so this is where a lot of the issue is. A lot of people say that Newmar should have done a better job. I don't know all of the details, so I'm not going to get, and neither do you. Nobody does, other than he said, she said stuff. But what Newmar says is that they ceased communication when they tried to cross the border a second time, and that they felt that was, that this couple's trying to skirt the law, and they didn't want to be a part of that. So the bottom line here now, though, is that Newmar has made several statements about this, sort of defending themselves. I don't think they're changing anything because there isn't a whole lot to be changed. But the VIN number, I did it. The VIN number, the VIN, the last 5 digits of the VIN are stamped on the chassis, right? So the actual frame of the chassis, which is made by Spartan, a separate company from Newmar. Newmar is the secondary manufacturer. Spartan manufactures the chassis, then Newmar upfits it. So Spartan comes up with the VIN number, and they stamp the last 5 on the chassis, whereas Freightliner stamps the whole VIN with a riveted plate. So anyway, this vehicle gets to the border. It's got the VIN in 2 locations inside of it, which is where it's supposed to be. People think they know that, you have to be able to see it from the outside. That's actually not what the law says for a secondary vehicle manufacturer. And it's in the 2 locations that it should be. Then there's also this 5 digits on the chassis. It's enough information to me that customs people should be like, okay, there's something wrong with this. If they don't like it, they can say, we don't like this. There's something wrong with it, and take it up with the manufacturer or something like this. Putting this couple through seizing the motorhome and fining them $600,000, which I don't know how you fine a Canadian citizen. I guess that they just can't come into the country unless they pay the fine. But
So there's so much here. My head is spinning.
Yeah.
So Custom still has
They still have
Class A. They still have the
motorhome.
Newmar.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not going to release it until the couple pays the fine?
I suppose that's where we're at.
that's-
I know it's essentially gonna go through courts now at this point.
I
And
think there's two conversations happening here, in my mind at least. There's the conversation about the VIN law.
yeah,
And I think we have learned recently that our laws are a little vague and open to interpretation.
lots of them.
And clearly this is one of them.
Most of them.
Yes. And in some ways that's good. And in some ways it presents problems. And this is presenting a problem. I know that our VIN for our trailers is in the door frame and can be removed.
But people are like, but that's on metal. Theirs is on wallpaper. What's the difference? It's a label.
There's no difference. It's
a
still a
label.
label. A label is a label is a label. So you have that problem there where there's not clearly defined where these VINs should be so that when someone is trying to, sell across the border, they can get, into the country. You have that. Then you have the second conversation, which really I'm having a hard time understanding why on earth they would try this for a second time. I'm really happy because
I've tried to put myself in their shoes a little bit. I think a lot of people are with you on that.
And I say that because I think I would have needed, personally speaking, I would have needed every duck in a row before I tried that a second time. On top of the fact that right now, just our political climate when it comes to our borders and,
things are a little tense.
It's a little tense, I mean,
I think the thing is
that I would not be trying something like that without having more information from Newmar. Perhaps trying to talk to Customs, talk to someone at the U.S. border. I have never attempted anything like that. I don't even know if that's possible.
They even put Newmar on the phone with the customs official.
Okay.
Who he just told Newmar it's wrong, and Newmar asked, "Well, what are we doing wrong? What should we do?" And he basically said, "That's not for me to tell you." And then, and he went to that customs official, or at least a customs official, also apparently went to a Newmar dealership and looked at them and found them all to be the same. So this was not a unique unit or something like that. So there was a little bit more going on with this in that case. But what we have now, I mean, when you say that, and I hear you, and I tend to agree with that. However, I can see where somebody who has hired a brokerage firm who does this.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
That those experts that they've hired have told them to give it another shot. We've never had a problem with this. Perhaps they said, what's the worst that can happen? You just get turned around again. And maybe that's where I agree with you. I would probably want more than that, but I can see where somebody would do that.
Okay, that's fair. They were given advice to try again. I'm sure they were hoping that they would get a more reasonable border officer. The problem is they were already in the system. So, they were flagged before they even got there.
There's so many people. And look, I hate being in the position of wanting to defend an RV manufacturer. I'd much rather sort of defend consumers. But there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of animosity towards the RV industry, and some of it very much understood, especially Newmar is owned by Grand Design. There's a lot of people that have a lot of animosity over Grand Design for lots of things that we've talked about in the past. There are a lot of people out there that are saying things like, these vehicles are not safe. They're not legal to drive on the road. If you own a Newmar, the VIN numbers aren't correct, so it's not legal to drive on the road. And that's absurdity. There are thousands of VIN inspections done on Newmars every year. Lots of states require VIN inspections to be done if you're, moving from one state to another. For instance, there lots of vehicles are sold across the border. Anytime a vehicle is shipped over to Canada, Canada hasn't had a problem with all the Newmars that are built in the US that are then shipped to Canada and sold there. This is, again, Newmar has been doing it this way for 50 years plus. So I think let's calm down a little bit. Like, there are people out there that are there are dealers out there that are saying they've lost a sale because people have stepped back and they've been like, oh, I don't think I can do this because of this VIN situation. And I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's a little absurd.
unfortunate. So we have a law and they've been doing it like this for 50 years. Maybe that's not the way that it needs to be done again. Like, you're doing it to your best of your knowledge as to what the law is allowing. Never been told to do it differently. We keep trying to draw lines in the sand. You're either for this couple or you're for the manufacturer. And two things can be equal. You can support this couple, and you can also say, this is a case of it not malicious intent. This is not that the rig is completely fallen apart. This is not that the frame has flexed and bent out of proportion. It's a VIN number.
And it's not like Newmar's cheaping out or something. Like, why would they want to
I mean, go out to your own RV and find your VIN number. But I think the problem, and we've talked about this before, and I think this is why it's very difficult for things to get done in the industry for the consumer. And I really wish some people would hear this, that if everything is a threat level midnight, then nothing is going to be paid attention to.
So, to be honest, if it was me, if I did that, like, I could see a situation where maybe I would go to another border crossing and I would just be upfront and say, look, I tried at a different border crossing. And since then, I have talked to the manufacturer. I've talked to my transport broker, whoever it is, all that sort of stuff. And everybody says this should be fine. And there's nothing wrong with it. This is how it's manufactured. Can you look at it? Right. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. None of us know. But there are people on the internet out there that they like to set their hair on fire to try to get clicks. And that's, it's
I
the world we
like my
live in.
hair. I'm not going to set it on fire for Newmar and a VIN issue.
What is Newmar's not like saving money by shortchanging you on putting the VIN somewhere else. So they're not. This is not a situation that Newmar wants to have wrong by any means.
No, and I mean, I recognize we're talking about it today. Obviously, we're giving time to it, but I do hope it goes without saying. Like, we need to understand things are a little bit more nuanced. They're not so black and white. You can be for supporting this couple and having empathy for what they're going through and find the things that, could have been done better. Like, hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah.
And we can also at the same time understand Newmar's position and understand that this wasn't something malicious. This VIN issue isn't malicious intent. They're not doing it to harm you as the RV consumer. Two truths can have equal weight, and we can see both sides of a coin and both sides of the story and have accountability on both sides.
Look, the VIN was in two places inside where it was supposed to be. The last 5 are stamped on the chassis. Whether the inspector thinks that's correct or not, it was very clear that the couple is not trying to, pull the wool over somebody's eyes and try to get away with something. So, I think the U.S. government could have given them a little bit of grace, and we all could have figured this out a little bit together. They could have told Newmar, this is what we think is wrong. Why did they say to Newmar, when they talked to Newmar, the inspector said, this is wrong, and Newmar said, well, what are we supposed to be doing that's different? And they said, well, that's not for me to tell you. We like you said, and I think that's an excellent point to end this on, is we all think the law is black and white. And boy, that is the biggest thing I've learned since getting into being a reporter of sorts, is that the law is a mess. The law is an absolute mess in any sort of sector of it. It is all over the place and can be interpreted in lots of ways.
What a great place to leave it on right there. The law is a mess.
I wanted to talk briefly before we move on to talking about Maquoketa about the video that I put out last night.
Oh, yes.
As we're recording this. It's not last night as you're hearing this. But
Thursday night.
I put a video out on Thursday that was clearly... I didn't tell Abby what I was doing because it was clearly not up her alley.
Abby's not watched it.
But I'm very pleasantly surprised about the reaction to it from the community.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Everyone really wanted to talk to you about this. No, I had asked you, and I see now why you didn't explain to me what you were doing for yesterday. Not that I can't, let me make it clear. It's not that I can't grasp the conversation.
You just thought it would be boring and people wouldn't like it.
Don't care.
So the
and
video,
that's fine.
The video is about changes in the last several years to American roadways, whether that's new intersection designs or what it was really spawned by was when we moved back here, a new bridge has just been built here over I-74. We used to have this old bridge that was dangerous. And it was really difficult to drive across. You had to be straight in that lane or you're going to hit the person next to you or the side of the bridge.
Yeah, we still have that. It's called the Centennial.
Well, yeah, fewer people drive over that one, though. Yeah, that one's right behind us
We
here.
just have one terrifying, dangerous bridge now. Yes.
Which I've just heard that's going to get rebuilt, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
But so they built this new bridge, and one of the first things I noticed about it, and you're going to laugh about this, is that the lane stripes, the white stripes in between the lanes, the dashed stripes, had sort of this black stripe behind the white stripe. And at first I thought, it was like a mistake, like they laid stripes and then they ground them up, and as they do when they take up a stripe, usually they grind it off and then they laid new ones or something like that. But no, then I started seeing in other places that's on purpose. So what they're doing now is putting a shadow. Either it's a black shadow around the white line or a tail behind the white line that helps contrast. So if you think about it, like pavement is gray, and sometimes it's a very light gray.
Yes.
And the white can blend into it, especially in the rain or as the white lines wear out over time, that sort of blends into it at night and all that sort of stuff. So what they're doing lately is creating these contrast shadows that help you differentiate and see where the white line is, especially a long distance away. You think, obviously I can see that white line, but think about it, a few hundred yards down the road,
sure,
you get a better visual of it. And it's better also for cameras on vehicles. A lot of vehicles have cameras now, not just for like fancy self-driving stuff like Teslas,
lane
but
assist.
Also lane assist keeping technology. So there's a whole lot of stuff going into improving lane lines. So it's not only those shadows, but they're also increasing the size of lane lines. A lot of lane lines are going from 4 inches to 6 inches. So this is the kind of stuff that I love that Abby thinks is boring as all get out, I'm sure.
That is, I feel like
I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
I want to make it clear.
It's boring to a large swath of the world.
I do not think it's boring, nor do I not care for reasons that are meant to be mean or like to be disrespectful to you.
I don't think of it that way. It's just
you have an incredible mind.
The kind of thing I love.
Yes. And you have an incredible mind and an incredible mindset. And you see things like that. I'm literally sitting here going, never noticed on the I-74 bridge.
Now you're going to notice it.
I will notice it now. I will notice it now, and I will understand it. And then I will look smart when I tell that to somebody in the future. But God help me if we're in the middle of a conversation in which that piece of knowledge is going to be useful, because that probably means I want out of that conversation.
So anyway, that's what inspired this video. And actually, I've been wanting to do this video for a couple of years now about sort of changes to road technology, because we've seen lots of stuff. We've seen a lot more roundabouts, ton more roundabouts in the world. But now there's like these diverging diamond interchanges, which we saw for the first time in Florida, where you get a little weirded out the first time because it takes you on the wrong side of the road for a minute, like the lanes swap.
Yep.
But it's supposed to be a lot safer, like it reduces traffic conflict. And I thought when I put this video out, I thought there would be a lot of people that would say they hate those. But actually a lot of people have said that in their area where they got one, it's dramatically improved traffic.
No, I love that for you. And I love that for the community too. I love that through RV Miles, we're hopefully curating a space where we have lots of different types of content so that everyone feels seen. Obviously, over here is a little bit more entertainment focused. And, we talk about travel, but we talk about a lot of other things there. And we use the RV Miles YouTube channel to have a few more tutorials or news, but there's just it's a smorgasbord. It's a charcuterie for everybody.
You know what my next idea is that's similar to this? It's something I've also wanted to do for a very long time. I think you're going to like this one, except for you just want me to tell you the answer. You don't want to watch a video on it. What I want to do is I want to get one of those those laser tape measures. It's just a laser that measures things, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
And I want to go around to overpasses and see how close the actual height of the overpass is to what the sign says they are.
You need to go to that one in Kansas City.
That's the challenge.
Notorious.
The challenge is I have to go around. I can't just do it here. It's got to be like I go to several states and do it. Right?
This is a multi-year project.
Yeah,
multi-month
or
project.
just next time we take a road trip somewhere, or we could just like stop at lots of overpasses on the way. You're gonna love that.
That sounds like a road trip I want to be a part of. That sounds like a 2-car road trip where you road trip by yourself.
Well,
and
a lot of people
and I head for our destination.
A lot of people hypothesize that those can be off by up to a foot. And that often, like, as the road gets built up with more asphalt, that it can be shorter. My guess is that it's never shorter, but often you have extra space. But that's just a guess. I don't know.
Aren't these things supposed to be regulated? Like, aren't people supposed to be going and doing what?
Believe me, I will get into all the regulation. I will figure it out.
Ooh,
listen. It's a project.
If you hadn't thought about supporting RV Miles before, you certainly want to support RV Miles now. You can, because I
need to buy a laser measure.
Yes, you can support Jason's endeavor to go all around the country measuring bridges.
Yeah,
by becoming a mile marker
pay for
member.
the fuel. Actually, is going to be the bigger, bigger
hey,
challenge. I'll get an orange safety vest and look all official.
$70 for the year.
I should have did it when we had our old truck. When we had our Ram. Our Ram had like construction lights on it. There was a button you could press that turned the construction lights on.
Yeah,
I should have done it when I had that one.
If this has got you all kinds of excited, then you definitely want to become a mile marker member.
It's got us all excited.
Support Jason's bridge efforts. Just go to rvmiles.com/mile markers.
Harvest Host is a membership that allows RVers to take a rest from the road and enjoy unlimited overnight stays at over 5,000 unique locations in North America, like breweries, farms, attractions, wineries, and much more. Easily plan and book your next RV trip and enjoy over $1,500 in exclusive member benefits by joining Harvest Hosts. Get 15% off your first year of membership with the code MILES. That's MILES. Go to harvesthost.com to become a Harvest Host member today.
All right, let's talk about a little bit of a hidden gem here in the Midwest. And this is actually something that we talked about this a bit at our homecoming event, which was our last episode, if you haven't checked that out. There are a lot of people that know about this place from all around the country, so it's not totally hidden. But this is a place that I think a lot of people, if you're people that love to go see natural areas, state parks and stuff that are a bit ways away from the super popular areas, Maquoketa is the place to go around here, particularly Maquoketa Caves State Park. So Maquoketa is a town here in eastern Iowa. It's about an hour, a little less, north of us. We're on I-80, so if you're coming across I-80, this 45 minutes north on one highway, Highway 61, and you'll be there. And this is it's a quaint little downtown. The downtown itself isn't spectacular. There's a brewery, there's a few places to eat and stuff like that. But what this town is really about is all the things that you can do around it. Maquoketa Caves being one of them. We'll talk about it in a minute. But what really got us hooked on this town was when we started visiting it was to go to this music venue that's there. We've talked about it a few times in the past. It's called Codfish Hollow, or Codfish Hollow Barnstormers is their full name. And it's a barn in the middle of the cornfields of Iowa, in the middle of nowhere, in a hollow, which I guess means sort of a kind of a depression. You kind of go down into a hill, and this barn is sort of tucked back in this little quaint, serene little spot. And it's a concert venue, like for big name bands.
Yeah, and a lot of really great indie local and sort of and nationwide indie local bands too. And so this was the second year that we had done this festival. So we went to a festival. It was called the Fine 2-Day Fest, and it's headlined by a band that we've talked about here before that we really like called Susto. And so they were playing, they were headlining both Friday and Saturday night. So we bought tickets for the whole weekend. And then on top of Susto performing and headlining, the Friday night was with the string band, and then Saturday night was the full band. They also had a bunch of bands from all over the country as well. So one of the bands from Radio Free Honduras, which came from Chicago, is a band I really like. It was really cool to see them. So we did this, and what we love about, first off, the acoustics in this barn are incredible. They have an incredible sound system and a lighting system. It is not just walking into some old barn. This barn is beautiful, and they have turned it into a true music venue. And then you go down the hill, and under the barn, they have another bar down there, and then they invite local vendors to come and sell their wares. And so you have an opportunity to support small, and you can do that. They bring in some food trucks. You know, they had a coffee bar food truck that came in. If you don't want to watch the show in the bar, they have like this beautiful sort of hillside where you can put your chairs, and they pump the music out there as well. If you're downstairs or you're down the hill where the bar and the wares are, they've got a TV going down there of the stage, and the music is coming through. So you can kind of just be immersed in this whole area.
And they keep it really sort of ragtag and farm-like. Like it's
Yes.
strung up lights. It's wooden benches. It's all very sort of like put together by the people that just are there and live there.
But it's curated still.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a vibe.
But
and
it's not expensive. It's not.
No.
It's the one big downfall is
Oh,
porta potties, though. It is a porta potty situation.
there are no flush toilets available to the public.
You can
Ooh.
bring your RV there. You can't
can.
bring right at the venue, but what they do, they have a parking lot that's an old cornfield, and that's where you park, and then you get on a little school bus that's your little shuttle that takes you down into the hollow. And what's cool is then there's no vehicles coming in and out. It's dark, so there's not like a bunch of headlights and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But at the parking area, you can camp overnight as well. We considered it.
50% of us considered it. 50% of us said, not today, buddy.
The road, I think, was fine. You do go down a dirt road. The parking itself, there's a lot of sort of like uneven terrain.
I am telling you.
And holes and stuff like that.
The 37 RV miles would not have been happy with that at all.
I probably would have considered it still, but it kind of got taken off the table because of the weather. We knew it was going to be hot that weekend,
Yeah.
and we just decided, well, boondocking is not going to be for us that weekend, especially because we were going to leave two of the kids back at the rig while we went to some of the shows. So we wanted to have air conditioning. So
Yeah.
instead, we found a little park in town, which we love when small towns do this. We've
yes.
taken advantage of this many times. When small towns have a little city park with campsites at it, it is one of the greatest things in the world. They're always cheap. This was $20 a night, and it was called Horseshoe Pond. Just a little pond. There's a little dog park. There's no frills. Big, spacious campsites. Didn't love the surface of the campsites. They were ground up asphalt, and not that like asphalt millings, the little pebbles. It was like hunks of asphalt. But other than that, it was just a nice, no frills city park, little playground, dump station, and electricity for $20 a night.
Yeah, you can't beat it. And it was incredibly safe. They had a camp host on there. I know that sometimes people can feel unsure about city parks, and they can definitely be hit or miss. I completely understand that. We loved this one. We felt like it was incredibly safe. We liked that there was a camp host. It was right. It's not.
Love's a strong word.
Okay. We liked.
It was decent. We loved the price.
We we loved it for what it was.
Yeah.
The purpose it was serving was that we needed somewhere, because we were just there for 2 nights to serve while we went to the Codfish Hollow in the evenings. We went to Maquoketa Caves during the day. So we wanted somewhere that was a really nice jumping off point. And this was that for sure. And our site was still quite spacious.
It was it was a really decent sized site. The kids had a lot of fun. I went and threw the football with the kids and stuff. We had originally hoped to stay at Maquoketa Caves State Park.
Yeah.
They have a campground there. It's only like 32 sites or so. Some sites are electric, some are not, but it was completely booked. It was a nice sort of late season camping that it was certainly packed over there, and we weren't going to be able to get in there, even though they do have some big sites and stuff. We just couldn't get in there for camping. I'm kind of glad we didn't, though, because it was kind of the opposite direction, and we would have been like a half hour away from Codfish Hollow. So.
Yeah. So 15 minutes from Codfish Hollow to have $20 a night to camp and be able to go to this music fest. And then also, if you're not going to a music fest, but you like $20 a night, of course, there is the brewery that Jason mentioned earlier that's downtown. But then around Maquoketa, you also have a drive-in movie theater, which is amazing. Then you've got a couple of wineries and a distillery. You can do some kayaking and river floats. You can also go, there's a dirt track race. Like they were doing like stock car racing the weekend that we were there as well, which, boy, we thought that was so much fun back. I think it was 2019 when we were in North Dakota and we went and had an evening.
It was Grand Forks.
In Grand Forks.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And we had no idea that they had one of these tracks in Maquoketa. And I have no doubt, like, we're going to go up there and check out an evening of stock car racing, because it looked like a ton of fun was when we passed by it to go to Codfish. So there's a lot to do there to make a really nice weekend out of visiting Maquoketa, or, an extended weekend. There's plenty to do. And of course, if you're coming to homecoming next year, this is a great little before or after a homecoming to kind of extend your time here in the area. Homecoming, we have the date set for next year. We just announced it yesterday. It's October 7th through the 11th, 2026. It'll be back in Amana. We'll have a lot more details about that in the future. And then also maybe even a pre-weekend prior to homecoming event that we might be hosting somewhere else, but we'll talk about that at a different date.
But the big draw of Maquoketa is Maquoketa Caves State Park. And this is a place I went here as a kid. It's been a long time since I had been to Maquoketa Caves.
I've never been, and I still haven't been. I didn't go when you took the kids on Saturday.
You were having some foot pain, so you thought it not be best. And you were right, because there are a lot of steps.
The lady cannot seem to kick the plantar fasciitis.
What's cool about Maquoketa Caves, there's a lot of caves in the Midwest, right? All over, down to Mammoth Cave. And then there's a lot in Missouri. We've been to Merrimack Caverns. There's fantastic caverns. There's
so fantastic.
Lots of caves that a lot of them have, formations that need to be protected. Maquoketa Caves is not the type of cave that really has formations, and it is a place where you can sort of touch and crawl over everything. So when we were there, it was a weekend, so it was fairly busy. There's no charge to get in, which is fantastic. Lots of great parking. The parking spots are enormous, like definitely big enough for a motorhome.
Cool.
Each single one of them.
Nice.
And I took the kids to explore these caves, and there were like dozens of other kids there with hard hats and headlamps and coveralls on, so they could go squeeze into some of the sort of smaller caves. Like it's a very it's not like the sort of thing where you're going to get deep into something and it's going to get dangerous, but there are small areas where the kids can sort of squeeze in and out of little small
Yeah,
caves,
Henry
right?
really wants to go back and do that.
And if you're not somebody that's going to squeeze into those, you can sort of go up a little ladder or up a staircase and peek your head into them.
Sounds great. That's what I'll
see
do.
them, right? So there's a lot of little caves like that here. But then there are these big caves that they call dance hall caves, and they're all connected. There's like 3 of them that are There's like the upper and lower and middle dance hall caves, and they're all kind of connected. And you go down a very long set of stairs to the entrance of one of them, and then you can walk through all of them. And there's a river that goes through them. They've got like concrete stepping stones
Oh,
on this river and like sidewalks that they've and lights that they've put in and stuff. And there are areas where you do have to duck decently. It's not claustrophobic because it's wide enough, but you do have to sort of like Jack's 6'5" and he had to bend over completely at his waist, right, to get under some of these areas. So it takes a little bit of, you gotta have some mobility in you to be able to go down the stairs and do some of the ducking stuff. But it's a really cool thing because, then you can just you can touch everything. You can climb over things. Some of it you have to climb over. And there are many other trails in this area. And then there's a big, huge natural arch as well, which I think most people would not expect in the middle of Iowa, right? This
no.
huge natural arch that you can walk under. And what I've learned about this region now that I didn't really know before is that this is sort of the south end of what's called the driftless region. And we've talked about how much we love the drive from here where we are up to Minneapolis on the Great River Road. And we've done that a couple times now. And there's some really gorgeous scenery along the way. There's big bluffs. There's lots of sort of canyons and caves, little canyons on creeks and stuff like that, all the way over to, it's not really quite part of the driftless region, but all the way over to like Starved Rock State Park in Illinois and the Wisconsin Dells and all the driftless region is a big area here in Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, with the Mississippi River running kind of up the center of it, that glaciers never touched during the last ice age. So there's a lot of terrain that people don't expect when they think of Iowa and Illinois cornfields, like that big valley in Decorah, Iowa that we want to go see, all that sort of stuff. And Maquoketa Caves is a great example of that. And I think it's a really, really beautiful state park for anybody that sort of loves that kind of like get away, get out and do something state park like, as we are sort of those people.
Yeah, we're hoping to go back in the next few weeks or something. I want to be able to go back and we'll spend the day exploring.
It ought to be gorgeous right now with the leaves.
Oh, I bet. Absolutely. Yeah. So that was our time at the music festival and at Maquoketa. And we hope that kind of inspires you to know that travel can be just as exciting when it's staying local and going and checking out something within your area and learning a little something about the driftless region, area, space.
Both. It's called driftless region or driftless area, depending on where you look on the internet. So
I did get it right.
Yeah.
It is time to check the level of our tanks, and that is sponsored by our friends over at Liquefied RV Toilet Treatment, the No BS toilet treatment. You can find them at liquefiedrv.com. Okay, Jay, what is in your black tank this week?
Well, I did say we would talk about the shutdown a little bit. So far, not too many reports of anything really bad happening in national parks at the moment. The last shutdown dragged on enough that there were some major issues that happened in parks. There have been a few isolated incidents. At Yosemite, there's been, you have to get a permit to hike Half Dome and go up the cables.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people doing that without the permit. And there have been some base jumpers in Yosemite, which is illegal to do. But and that stuff happens occasionally when there's not a shutdown. But
you stay classy.
There's been a lot of that stuff happening at Yosemite, I know. The black tank here though is the confusion for people that want to visit these places, knowing what's open and what's not. And so what's happened is that the communications people at parks have been deemed as non-essential employees, right? So they've been furloughed. So what's happened is the websites are not updated with what's closed and what's not. And the social media has not been updated with that. And I question why, at least at, in each region of parks or something, why those people are not considered essential, because I feel like communicating to the public whether something is open or closed is sort of essential.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they're not. I
Yeah.
would say what would be nice is just maybe a post that's like, hey, we're going to be open during the shutdown, or hey, we're going to be closed during the shutdown, or here's what's not going to be available. Okay, bye. I got to go home now. But it is difficult for people to know. It is difficult to kind of get your head wrapped around, like, can I not? There's a lot of people who've had big trips planned. They're like, do I still keep this trip? Can I get into the campground? Are the concessionaire campgrounds open? Are they not open? There's so many questions, and there's just nowhere to go. And for a lot of us, the first place we do check is we do head to social media. You do go to see if you can get that kind of information off of either, like I said, their social media websites, or you go to their actual websites. None of that is available right now. And so it just creates a lot of extra.
Or make it part of the closing procedure. Like we knew this shutdown was coming.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, don't pretend like you couldn't have had something prepped.
Have
like,
it
just
prepped.
put it in your drafts to go out at like 12:01 a.m. or something. Like, it's very simple to do. I know that's what y'all do over there anyway. So yeah, I get it. I mean, and I know for you, it's frustrating because there's just so many. You get a lot of questions being asked. Do you know? Do you know? And no.
Well, and what's also confusing is that then there are areas that are allowed, that do have communication priority, and are allowed to, like fire and police action, stuff like that. So what we've seen is there actually have been some press releases from like the Grand Canyon about the North Rim situation and what's opening there. And so they're talking about what is now open on the North Rim, because that's the fire, which, obviously the firefighters are deemed essential.
Mm-hmm.
That arm of the National Park Service is allowed to post that. But then you've got nobody for the rest of the park saying this is open and this is closed.
Yeah.
It's a very government thing to do.
Yeah. Well, it's a government agency.
But I do think, I think there is an argument that communications people are essential.
Sure.
To be able to sell you, like, something, there could be things that happen that are not related to the shutdown, as happens all the time. A natural disaster in a park, like flooding in Yellowstone a couple of years ago, a rock fall in Zion could happen. There's huge, actually right now, there's huge rainstorms hitting Utah and Arizona, and there are big issues in Sedona right now, I know, or potential issues with flooding. And those are things that need to be communicated to keep people from getting in dangerous situations where there are fewer people to rescue them available right now. And I think that is an essential function.
Well, maybe the state of Utah can take that on too, since they're helping to keep the parks open in the state of Utah. Maybe they can take on the essential communications.
The information is there in Utah, because Utah is paying to keep their parks open, but that's besides the point. So yeah, that's my black tank.
There you go. What is in your fresh tank this week?
My fresh tank this week is you'll laugh about this. So,
well, I saw it written on here, and I'm trying to understand.
So Monopoly is back at McDonald's.
Yeah,
and I used to, when I was a kid.
Oh man,
I loved getting those stamps and putting them. They don't give you the big thing anymore. The big.
Did we try so hard at my house to win?
Well, the obviously at some point you find out the trick is, they give, like, there's 3 properties in every area, or 2 with its boardwalk and park place, and they give out the 2 of those 3 properties willy-nilly to everybody. So everybody thinks they're very close to winning. And nobody is, because there's like one stamp that's the other place.
So many free small
Anyway,
fries.
The grand prize, if you get Boardwalk and Park Place, is a Winnebago View motorhome.
Hello.
Winnebago is partnering with McDonald's to give away. Winnebago View is the grand prize for Monopoly this year.
Didn't it used to be $1 million?
Well, did it? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, hey, I don't mean to, I'm not,
You know,
no
I
shade
think
to you,
you're
my
right.
friends at Winnebago.
I
No shade.
think you're right. I think it did. But here's the thing, though. As it was with the Publishers Clearinghouse thing, like you used to remember
Is
the
this going to
Publishers
be a
Clearinghouse?
Pepsi situation?
Well, you always thought, oh, like, Publishers Clearinghouse keeps giving away these $1 million prizes. They only gave out they didn't give it out every year.
No.
They rarely actually gave it out, and I think that was the case with the Monopoly $1 million from McDonald's. Is like,
Yeah.
actually nobody really often won it. You had to get both stamps, and it was rare that you did. So I think somebody, don't hold me to this, but I think somebody definitely will win the Winnebago this year. And Winnebago's also giving away a Winnebago Thrive travel trailer, which I really liked those when I saw those.
I think that's cool. I actually think that's a cool prize. I really do. Yeah, I loved, like, you'd get your soda and it's the little tabs you'd have to pull off, like the little Monopoly tabs, or it'd be like on the fry or something, but you wouldn't always get it on all the burgers. You had to have like a certain type of meal. Like it was only like on the Quarter Pounder or the Big Mac or something.
Oh yeah, if you didn't get a large fry, you got a large fry, you got 2 stamps, but if you didn't get a large fry, you got none.
I have never understood a Big Mac. I will take that to my grave. I have never understood the appeal of a Big Mac.
Half a bun in the middle? What do you do with the other part of the bun?
What are you doing with your lives?
It's weird.
Like, and what is the special sauce? No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want
I think special
lettuce.
sauces have been demystified.
They're not so special anymore. Trader Joe's sells one. It's no longer special. I love this. It's not going to make me start eating at McDonald's again.
We're not going to go to McDonald's every other day to start collecting the stamps.
As much as I do love myself a 2 cheeseburger meal.
Because what you would always get is just like, a free small French fry would be what you end up winning.
Or you would sometimes get like a free small drink or maybe an ice cream cone.
Small French fry.
But as my round of recent doctor's appointments have now confirmed, McDonald's is not in my
McDonald's isn't good for anybody, whether your doctor is telling you or not. But doesn't stop us from going occasionally.
Doesn't stop us from going occasionally, and I don't know. Maybe we'll win that Winnebago.
All right, what's in your black tank this week?
So my black tank, since we're sticking on the food subject, I don't know what made me think of this, other than I pass it every time I have to take the kids to their afternoon acting class. I just want to know what is happening with you, Chipotle, and how can I help you? What can I do for you to help you turn things around, to get you back to what you were in those glory days?
Greatest like healthy fast food.
Well, let's not go that far, Jay.
Well, you could eat.
Have you seen how much sour cream they are willing to slather on that bowl for you?
I don't like sour cream though.
Well,
you could eat. I could eat fairly healthy at Chipotle. Like it used to be. It's like what we used to feel about Subway. Like there was a time when everybody thought Subway was healthy, and now all of a sudden it's
Jared
like,
proved that wrong. It is. I could ask this of Panera Bread too, but we will just keep this to Chipotle. What is happening? Have you lost your brooms? Have you lost the ability to clean?
It has been.
Do you just not care
It's
anymore?
been since the pandemic for 5 years now. Every time we've gone to Chipotle, and we go to some of these places because everybody in our family will eat at them. Every time we have gone to Chipotle in the last 5 years, it has been a train wreck.
And we let them keep burning us. This last time, though, when we went specifically for a fundraiser for Davenport Junior Theater, which is where our kids take a homeschool acting class.
It was like one of those things where they give 25% back.
Not even that. I think it's like 10, 15%. But that was the biggest train wreck I have ever seen. I waited 30 minutes past the time they told me to show up to get the food. it was so dirty in there that I was like, I don't even know that I can eat this.
The mobile ordering in the DoorDash is really
just
killed
like,
it.
DoorDash is like the Airbnb industry. They've just really ruined some of
there
these
was one
restaurants, but
they've gone and made a second line for creating mobile orders, and there was one person working because she and I ordered meals separately.
Yeah,
and we both ended up meeting there. Not on purpose, just by how long it was taking.
I mean, listen, I got a thing for that guacamole from Chipotle. I love it. I love your chips, but I can't anymore with you, Chipotle. Like we have to break up until you figure out what is going on in that restaurant. The woman
that was working the mobile order line was running out of ingredients, and she would just wait. She was clearly not allowed to go over to the other line.
When it started, when they were like, "Hi, we're gonna have quesadillas, but
you have to
only get a quesadilla if you use the app. Don't you dare walk up to us in the line and try to order a quesadilla. We will not make that for you. We will tell you to get out of line and go order it on the app."
When we were there,
that is bananas.
I could have gone. I could have gone through the regular. We had mobile ordered in order to get our food on time to get Henry to his football game. I could have gone through the actual line at least 7 times.
But you couldn't because Henry wanted a quesadilla.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, look, in the grand scheme of life and everything that's going on around, the dumpster fire that is this world now, I know that this is small potatoes, but I just really liked Chipotle.
I know, it's because the worst part is the price has doubled.
Oh, can we not have one thing? Just
and there are restaurants that have got it down. I mean, you still go into a Culver's or a Chick-fil-A and the service is impeccable. I don't know why places like Chipotle and Panera is my god,
so expensive.
They're all so expensive, and you haven't gotten anything. They've clearly have fewer employees because they don't clean the restaurants at all. Every time we've gone to a Chipotle in the last 5 years, the trash cans have been overflowing. Like they have the little holes for you to try to stuff it in.
Shame on us for going back.
Why do we keep going back? I don't know.
Like, it's just, why are we still in this relationship with them? We're not.
We don't have a whole lot of options because our kids are picky.
Well, that's, but the
thing, like we choose Chipotle because we don't want to go to McDonald's and eat McDonald's like we just talked about.
Yeah,
and we feel better eating at Chipotle.
I'm gonna go play Monopoly now. I'm out.
Yeah. Anyway, what's in your fresh take?
So speaking of something that's enduring and just lasts, and you just need to throw out some love to the local library. I just want to remind everybody that libraries are incredible resources, not only for the community, but they can also be incredible resources for you when you're on the road as well. Over the years, we have really had some great experiences with libraries we found as we've traveled. And then when we were in Minot, or when we would go and stay with my parents for a while, my gosh, Ethan's performed in a library for a talent night, a library is a great resource. I just became a member of the Davenport library system now that we're on the Iowa side. And I went to the one not far from our house. I checked out a couple books, but I was reminded, that for your community, libraries have resources for museums. We can get tickets to the symphony here. There's so many extras. They had board games you can check out. There's a lot of community activities that happen in your library. There's a lot of information about your community that you can find in your library. And gosh darn it, if they just weren't the nicest people when I was in there. And to me, a library, I always, I've said this before, but my very first job was I was a page at a library, and I was responsible for going around and shelving books. And to me, there's just something like it's very easy for me to get lost in a library and just find and stumble upon books or subjects or topics I didn't even think about. Magazines, you can sit and look at a magazine, or you can read the paper. Like if you don't want to take the paper, you don't want to subscribe to the paper, but you want to, be able to read a paper maybe that's not local to your area, you can go to your library, you can sit down and read the Sunday paper if you would like, or
we've used them a lot on the road to get
Yeah, and-
internet,
but also it's
bathrooms.
right. But too, their online resources are so
Yeah.
great as well. Libby is such an asset for anyone that's a book lover like me to be able to not have, out on the road for weeks at times and still be able to have your Kindle or whatever you're reading on and be able to access Libby and be able to check out books without having to purchase them, save that money saving aspect of. I love our library.
Some libraries have in some states they have state park passes too that you can check
Yes.
out to go to your state
Activities
park
for
without having to pay for it.
teens.
When we were in Chicago, we used to always try to get, the museums in Chicago are awesome. They're very expensive
Very
to visit,
expensive.
but the libraries would often have museum passes that you could check out. And some libraries, if you're visiting an area, you can get a day pass, and you don't have to be a local resident to get those sorts of things.
Absolutely. It's just a great resource beyond just books. It's a great resource for the community, but they need to see you and they need our support. And so if you have a local library and you can spend a little bit of time in there and you can go support that library, please do so, because they're an incredible resource for your community. Even if you don't utilize them, many others are, and they need our support.
That's it for this week's episode of the RV Miles podcast.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for watching the show this week. And hey, if you are enjoying RV Miles and you're watching this on YouTube, we hope you'll subscribe to the channel, or you will share this episode with your community out on social media. If you are listening to this, the greatest thing you can do for RV Miles is head over to Apple Podcast or over to Spotify and leave us a 5-star review. That tells those big old podcast conglomerates that this is a show worth showing to other people. And that just helps build this network. And we really, really appreciate you doing that. So until next week, my friends, stay safe, stay healthy, go visit your local library and check out a book, and keep logging those RV miles.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.